Hello friends, welcome to our channel. In this video, we will be seeing Java database connectivity with a MySQL database. So this video will be divided into two parts. In first part, through our Java application, we will be inserting the data in MySQL database, and in second part, we will be retrieving the data in a Java application from a MySQL database. So in order to start with JDBC Java database connectivity, we have to know these basic steps. The first one is to establish the connection. How we will be establishing the connection from a Java application to a database. Then we have to write down the SQL statement. We have to create this statement in order to get this statement executed on a database. So in the third step, we will be executing the statement that we have created. In the second step, we will be executing those statements on a MySQL database and we will be retrieving the data. So when we will retrieve the data, it will be temporarily stored in a result set format in a client machine, and that we can retrieve it as per our need. And the last and the final thing is that we need to close down the connection. So let's see each and every step in detail. So first we will be seeing how we will be inserting the data in MySQL database and what all steps which are being involved in inserting the database, inserting the data in MySQL database. The first step is to establish a connection. To establish the connection, the first and the most important thing that we need to do is that we need to import a SQL package. So SQL package we will get in a parent package Java. So we have to write down the line like import java.sql.*. So all the classes that are required for us to deal with the database connection and to deal with all the operation with the database, that all will be imported, and now we can use those classes in a program. The second thing that we will be doing is to load the appropriate driver. Loading the driver is very important, okay? And that too of vendor specific driver. Suppose that if you are making a connection with a MySQL database, then register and load MySQL driver. If you are getting connected with a Microsoft Server database, then Microsoft Server driver we need to register and to load. Suppose that Microsoft Access we are getting connected to Microsoft Access driver, we need to load and to register. And next thing that we will be doing is that we will be creating a connection. In order to create a connection, we will be using a connection object, and we have to take a help of a driver manager. So we have to write down the thing in this fashion, like driver manager.get connection, and the three most important parameters that we need to pass to this connection first function. The first thing is that URL, database URL we need to pass down. The URL will be having three things. First one will be the location of a server. So if it is a local server, it will be like localhost and so on so thing. If it is a web server or remotely located server, then we have to specify the IP address or its domain name. After that, we need to specify the port number. That database server is been running on a specific port number, so we have to specify the port number. In MySQL, there will be a port number that we need to use. Then username and a password for a getting entry in that particular database. Second thing is that we need to create the JDBC statement. So statement are the most important thing. Whatever the operation that we want to do with a particular database, that operation related statement we need to create. So for creating the SQL statement, we have to use a statement class and we need to create an object of it. The statement HTMP is the object that we have created, and we have to say on.create statement. So it will create a statement, and that statement, whatever that we have created with its object, we can execute the SQL statement. For example, what we need to do is that we need to insert the data in a registration table. So what we have done, we have created a string variable, that is SQL underscore str. In that we have mentioned a SQL statement like insert into registration. That is what we need to insert in a registration table. The values that we will be specifying, that 180C and 999, the value that we need to insert in the registration table. So this statement that we have created a string in the form of a string variable, we need to pass it down to a particular statement execute update function. And what it will do, it will execute a statement that we are passing on a database, and it will make the changes in the database. And in order to know whether the changes are being done or not, what it will do, this function will return some integer value. Suppose that we are inserting 2 records, so it will return us 2. Suppose that we are updating 4 records, so it will return us 4 value. So whenever we are doing kind of insert, update, delete, and create, drop table kind of operation, that means what we are dealing with the database table changes, that time we will be using execute update function. At the end, what we will do, we'll close a statement and we will also close the connection. Okay friends, now we will be executing the program. In order to execute the program, we will require certain software. So please take a note of the software that we will require in order to execute this program that we will be doing. What we will be doing, we will be inserting the data from a Java application in a MySQL database. So first thing that we will require is that we will require a XAMPP. We are using a XAMPP software. In XAMPP we will be using phpMyAdmin, and in that we will be using a MySQL service for creating a table, and that table we will be connecting with a Java application. For doing the Java application, we are using an IDE. IDE is what an integrated development environment, for which we are using this NetBeans. So it will be providing us an environment. Using that environment, we will be able to develop a Java application. We will be able to debug the application, and we will be able to find out the errors in an application, and we will be able to run the application. For that, we are using a NetBeans overlay. So right now we are using NetBeans 8.2. If you don't know how to install a NetBeans 8.2, one video is being created for you. Search in a channel, you will be getting it, and I will also place the link in a description from where you can see the video and you can download a NetBeans 8.2 if you don't know how to install it. Okay, so first thing what we will be doing in that is that we will be creating a database. So the database that we will be creating is what? ABC company. So ABC underscore company is the database that we will be creating in a MySQL, and in ABC underscore company database we will be creating a table employee. So it will be having 4 fields. First one will be the employee ID, that will be a primary key and it will be auto number. Then next thing will be string field, that will be ename, where we will be placing a employee name. then designation of an employee, and the last one will be the salary of an employee. We will first start with the creation of a database. Then we will be creating a table in a database. Then after that we will be creating an application in a NetBeans. Okay friends, let's start with building the application. So before building the application, the first thing that we will be doing is that we will be creating the database in MySQL database. So as we have discussed, we will be using a XAMPP. So first thing that we will be doing is that we will be opening the XAMPP. Okay, so we have to click on this XAMPP control panel. As we can see that the XAMPP is getting open. So we have to click on this start, then start MySQL. The detailed video on how to install XAMPP and how to create the database and the tables in the database, a separate videos for installation and the creation of table and all is been there in our channel. You can take the benefit of it. If you don't know how to do it, I will place the link in a description. You can see the videos. So we have to click on this admin. So it's got loaded. So we have to go to database. Be creating database like we have to click on this create button. Database will be created. Then we have to create table in this. So we will be creating table log. Okay, so we want 4 columns. If you want more or less, we can do more or less simply with this arrow, or can directly tap the number of columns over here. So we want 4 only. So we will be clicking on this create button. On clicking the create button, we will be provided with this particular structure where we can build the schema for the table. The first thing that we will be doing is that we have to create the employee ID. So we have to say EID. We want it as a number only. We will keep type as integer, and then we have to click on this AI, that is what auto increment. So on clicking AI, that particular field will be converted. The index is now converted to primary. So now it will be the primary key of our table. Then what we need to do is that we have to specify the second column in the table, that is what ename, that is what where we will be storing employee name. So it has to be in text. You can also take varchar data type. It is designation. So we will keep it text. Next one is have to come. Okay. Save. saving this, we will be seeing that database name is company underscore ABC. In that we have created a employee table. So whatever the database table is there, employee, that we can see its detail over here with this browse option is designed. We can see with the help of this structure option which has been provided in this tab, and if you want we can modify with this change option over. So rightly we don't want to modify anything. Mistakenly it has been clicked by me. We don't want to modify anything. We have to keep it as it is. Now what we need to do is that we have to create the application through which we will be passing down the data, and that data which we are passing through the application has to be inserted in this database table. So very quickly we will be opening our IDE MyAdmin. It will take some time to start. Okay, so now it is been started. What we need to do is that we have to go to this file menu. In this file menu we will be getting this sub menu as new project. So we will have to click on this new project. Okay, so on clicking the new project we will be provided with this particular window. In this window what we need to do is that we need to click on this Java option, and in this Java option we have to click on this Java application as we are creating a Java application. Okay, by default it will be stored over here, but if you want to store it somewhere else we can change the location also with the help of the browser. Like in this PC I want to store in this C drive. Okay, so in this C drive I will be creating a folder JDB, and in this folder JDB I want to store this application. Okay, so I want to name it as simple. Okay, name it as simple ins. Okay, what I'll do, I will click on this finish button. Okay, as you can see that a particular project is being there, in project is being created in our IDE. Okay, in this project, okay, we are having the source package. In the source package simple interest package will be created, and in that we will be having a main class file, means what Java file is there for us, or which classes will be generated. The main class file is there, that is what simple_insert.java. Okay, so whatever the changes that we need to do, that can be done in this particular Java file. Okay, so I am removing the comments. The first and the most important thing that we have discussed while discussing the steps that have been involved in getting an application connected with a database is that first step is that we have to import SQL package. So what we need to do is that we need to say import java.sql. I don't want to insert a specific package. I'll say * all the classes which are required or which are related to SQL will be imported over here. And now what I can do is that I can use these particular classes for getting the application connected with the database. Now the next thing that we need to do is that we have to connect with a database, and the database is MySQL. So to get connected with a MySQL, what we need to do is that we need to import the driver. Means what? We need to register the driver and we need to load the driver. In order to use the driver, first thing is that we need to include that driver in this particular project. So for that, what we need to do is that we have to use the MySQL library over here. To use the MySQL library over here, what we need to do is that we need to click on this, right click on this library folder, and we have to say add library. Then we have to search for MySQL. You can see a MySQL database driver is over here. So on selecting MySQL JDBC driver and on clicking this add library button, the MySQL JDBC driver will be included in our project. Now what we can do is that we can use that particular driver for getting an application connected with the database. Okay. Now what we have to do is that in the while doing the connection, what we require is that we have to So now what we have done, we have downloaded the driver, we will be using the driver. So what we have to do is that we'll be going to this public static void main. The first thing that we will be doing over here is that we will be creating a TrackH block over here, because there are a number of errors that can occur while doing the connection, while executing the statement, SQL statement, and that has to be handled. So using a TrackH block, the things रेकॉर्डिंग चालू आहे का बोलतो घ्या ना मोबाईल हे काय गरज होती माहिती आहे रेकॉर्डिंग चालू आहे Okay, so as drivers is been included in a project, now we can use the driver. So to use the driver, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to include a TrackH block over it. Indentation is very important. That will help us in tracking down the error if we are getting any. Okay, if you want to catch any specific exception, that too can be done by using a next step catch. Whatever. After loading the MySQL driver, first thing that we will be doing is that as we have included a MySQL driver in a pack, as we have included a MySQL driver in a project, now we can use it. For using that, the first thing that we will be doing is that we need to include a TrackH block over here. So while executing the program, there might be many errors, like errors while doing the connection, errors while executing the statement. So we need to use a TrackH block in order to track a specific errors, or it has to be track a generalized error using this exception view, so it can be handled in a next execution. Okay, so what now we will be doing is that we will be loading the driver, registering and loading the driver. To be like, we have to specify in this form dot MySQL DBC this way put a drive. Okay, home.mysql.jdbc.drive. Okay, after this, what we need to do is that we need to create a connection. So for creating the connection, what we need to do is that we need to specify the connection. We use the connection object. Now we will be creating a connection reference variable. Okay, while creating the connection, three things that we need to pass to that connection function, get connection function. The first thing is URL, second one is username, the third one is password. So for that, what we will do, we will make one global, three global variables for it. So it will be like string, we will make it as final variable. Out this program, value that we are placing in it should not be changed. Okay. The first thing that we have to specify the URL. So we have to specify in this fashion, like JDBC MySQL. Then in MySQL we have to specify colon. After that, forward slash, then localhost, slash Then we have to specify the name of a database. So it is what? Company underscore ABC. So we will be specifying the database name over here. This will be company underscore ABC. After that, we have to specify the name. So for that also I am creating one variable user and root and password as blank is the default username password for MySQL database table. If you want to change, you can change it by going to the database and in the privileges, like over here, we can go to a database for which we want to change, and in that we have to go to these privileges, and in these privileges what we can do, the default localhost password or username that we need to change, that we can change. For now we are using a default username, that is what root, the password as none. So it will be like root as username as root, password making a variable pass for password, and it will be none. That is what a blank that we need to specify. And what we need to do is that we will be creating a connection. So connection object reference we have created. We will be using the same thing over here. Dot, we will say to driver get connection, and the connection URL we have to specify DB URL, plus we have to specify the username password. So we will say user and okay. So connection is being created. What we will do is that in order to identify that each and every step is being executed properly, we will be writing down the println statement after each and every operation. So for that, like after loading down the before getting the connection, what we will say, you want, you can write, it is not necessary. System dot out. We will be saying that first thing that we will be doing is that driver then we will say same thing after connection being created. So we will say yes successfully. Okay, so we will able to identify that each statement is being executed successfully with no bugs in it. So after that, what we need to do is that we need to insert the data in a table. So for inserting the data in a table, the third step that we will be doing is that we will be creating a statement. So for creating the statement, what we need to do is that we need to create a statement object. What first thing that we will be doing is that we will be creating a statement reference variable like empty null a. Create statement will be created specifying it as printf statement. Okay. Each substep in the main steps that we have discussed. The statement object is being created. Now the thing is that we have to specify the statement that we will be executing. So to specify the statement, what we will do, we will take one SQL string times SQL, and in that we will be specifying the statement like and we need to specify the name of a table. Is not case sensitive, and we can write the small case also, doesn't matter. Insert into we have to specify the name of a table. The name of a table is employee. I'll copy the name of a table from here to avoid mistakes while typing. And we will be mentioning the field names, as we don't want to insert the value of an employee ID that will be auto incremented and it will start from first. So we will be specifying the name of other fields which are there, like in structure. If you want to see like employee ID is auto incremented, rest all field values that we need to specify. First one is e-name, designation, second one is designation and salary. So we have to specify over here like e-name, then designation, we will be specifying the values of it. First one is a string, so it will be like designation picture Schema. Have to specify the salary. Salary should not be in inverted comma as it is. Teacher. Take single inverted comma double comma. Now perfectly written. So for executing this statement, what we will be doing, we will be using execute update function. Here as it is an insert statement, so we have to use execute, or we can also use execute update. Execute update and single string that we have to specify, that is an SQL string that we have already specified, so it's okay. So this will execute. Hope so. This will execute and it will insert a database data in a database table. Okay. So in order to find out that whether the data is inserted or not, what we will be doing is that this execute update function will return one integer value. That integer value will be the number of tables which have been affected in a table. Number of rows which have been affected in a table. So we'll say that int row. Okay. So if it is 0 means that there is no change in a table, and if it is more than 0, that means that a statement is been executed properly and the row will be inserted. So we will be saying that if a row is greater than 0, then we'll print a statement system dot out println else will say a error of okay. So now our program is ready, and now what we can do, we will save it. Even if we will not save it and we will directly run it, it will save automatically, and we'll say run. So as you can see in the status bar that it started running. So each and every step which has been executed, it had printed a statement for it like driver is loaded successfully, connected with the database successfully, statement created successfully, and record inserted successfully. So let's see in a database that whether the record is being inserted or not. So on clicking a database table, what we can see is that the record is being inserted properly. Okay, so now we will move to our next part of our video where we will be retrieving the data. Okay, in this part of our video, what we will be doing, we will be whatever the data which is been stored in the MySQL database table, we will be retrieving that data and we will be displaying it in a Java application. So what will be the steps that will be involved in getting connected with the database and retrieving the data from that database table? The first thing will be establishment of the connection. The step is same as we have done in our previous section. So first thing that we will require is that we need to import a SQL package. Then we will be registering and loading of a driver. So in our case, we are using a MySQL database. So we have to load and register MySQL database driver. After that, we need to create a connection between our application and a database. So for that, we need to create a connection object, and that can be created with the help of a driver manager.getConnection function, and we need to pass down three things, that is what DB URL, that is what database URL, username and password for the database to get access to the database table. After getting connection ready, we will be creating a statement. So statement that we will be executing on the database and getting the data from a database. So for that, we need a statement class, and we will be creating an object named HTMP, and that can be done with a connection object con.create statement function. Okay, so next thing is that we will be executing the statement on a database and getting the data in a client machine. So what we have done is that we have written a query. For writing down the query, we have took a string variable query. In that, we have placed a query that selects star from registration. Then we have created a statement, st equal to con.create statement, and we have executed the statement. Now we are having a select statement. So what we will be doing, we will be using a execute query function of a statement in order to execute a select related query. So we have to write down st, that is what a statement object dot execute query. The query that we have formed, that is what select star from registration, that we will be passing as an argument to this particular function. If you want, you don't want to make a string variable, we can directly pass down the query as an argument to this particular function. What's the difference between this execute query function and the execute update function? Execute update function returns the number of rows which are being affected by the statement, and execute query function will return me the result in a form of a table. So st.execute query function will execute the query, and whatever the result that we will be getting, that result we will bring back to a particular client machine where our application is running, and over here the result will be stored in a tabular form in our main memory, which we called it as a result set. So for this, whatever the result that we are getting from this particular statement, that we need to store it in a result set object, that is what rs. So when it will be stored in a result set, it is like a tabular fashion it is been stored. So how we can retrieve that particular data? So we can retrieve that data with the help of a result set function. So I have created a result set object over here, and with the help of this function like next, we can able to point out to the first record which has been stored in this particular result set. Okay, and after getting the first record, each and every column data can be retrieved with the result set function like get in. Suppose that the data type of that particular column is integer. So in this case, we will be saying that the first field is get integer, so we have to retrieve it with the getIn function. Then in that getIn function, we have to specify the name of a column. It's okay if you don't know the name of a column, we can specify the index number. But in a case of a database, the index number starts with a 1, it not start with a 0, as it starts in an array. Okay, so when it will be retrieved, it will be stored in an integer variable, that is what empid. Okay, similarly the second field value, that is a string that can be retrieved with a function getString function. There over here we have to specify the name of a column, that is what ename. So that can be retrieved and it will be stored in a temporary variable ename. Okay. Third is salary. It is also in a form of an integer, so it will be retrieved and it will be stored in an integer variable salary, and then we will be displaying it over here. Okay. Then again we will go to the start of a while loop. Then we will be moving to a next record with the help of a next function. So it's like that first earlier it was been pointing. One sec. It's like that earlier it has been pointing to the first record. On when we will be saying rs.next, it will be moving to a second record and it will be retrieving the data of a second record. So it will be retrieving the data for the second record, and again the second record employee ID, employee name and salary will be fetched down, and it will be stored in a temporary variable, and again it will be displayed with the help of a system.out.println. Okay, so after displaying the thing which are there in a second record, we will again move to a start of a while loop. It will be going to retrieve a third record with the next function. So now we will be fetching and displaying all the records data of a third record. So now, as there is only 3 records, and now when we will go to a while loop, start of a while loop, and we will say that rs.next, it will point out to a null. It will point out to a null location, and that's it. That loop will come to know that we have traversed through all the records, so it will move out of the record. So there are certain functions that has to be remembered when it comes to a result set. First one is next, to move to a next record or to traverse to a next record in a result set. Previous, to traverse to a previous record in a result set. First, directly move to a first record. In this case, we are having the first one, that is what employee ID 1 record, that we will be directly moving a pointer to that particular location by using a first function. And when say last, we will be moving directly to the last, that is what the third record, by using last function, result sets last function. Absolute, if you want to go to a directly to a specific row, that can be done with the help of absolute function, where we have to specify the row number and we can go directly to that particular row number. Like if we want to go to a 2nd row, then we have to specify 2 over as an argument to this particular function, then we will directly move to that 2nd row. Relative function is used to traverse, that is what, with the current row plus positive or negative value. Then get in, as we are using a get in function over here to get the value of that particular field. So it can be retrieved through a column number by specifying the column number as an argument to this particular function, or in this case we have specified the column name. So that is what, in this 7th and 8th numbers, like column number we can specify, that is column index that we can specify, or a column name we can specify in order to retrieve that data. Similarly, get string is there to get the column value or field value through its integer, that is what, column index, or through the column name. We are also having like get boolean and all. Through that we can get the appropriate data or whatever the type which is been set for that particular field. That type field can be retrieved with a specific function over here in a result set. Okay, and at the end we need to close down the connection. So that can be done with a close function. So we need to close down the statement and we need to close down the connection. Okay, so now let's see how it is being done by writing the code. Okay, so we have a XAMPP ready, it's running, and we can see that we have already created in a previous section, we have created a database company ABC, and in that company ABC we have already created a table named employee. Okay, and in that employee table we are having this particular data, like employee name is ABC, manager, designation manager, and salary as 60,000. What we will do is that we will insert 2 to 3 more records by executing the same statement again and again. What we will do, we will copy this thing for 2 more times. So as it has been declared, there is no need for us to declare it again. Okay, so in this thing, what we will do, we'll say that name is PQR, then senior manager, and the salary is 90,000. Okay. Then again we will say, that divide in per 40,000. And he will be also for record update. Okay, the changes has been made in the same program. And now we will run the program. So all three records have been inserted. We can see record 1 is inserted, second is also inserted, and third one is also inserted. And let's see whether we are getting over here all the data we are getting over here. Yes, all three records that we have inserted is been there in this particular table. So now what we will do, we will retrieve this table, and for that we will be writing down the code. So we'll go to a netbin, simply we'll say that new Java class, and in that we will say that retrieve type data. Okay, finish. As we can see that the retrieve data is been there. What we will do is that we will copy down the first two things, like we need to import a Java package, so that we will copy down from this first program that we have created. This comment I am removing off. Okay. Then what I'll be doing, this thing which is there, on all the things, taking this menu. Yeah, I'll copy and I'll delete it over there. So this thing I don't want. I am deleting this thing. So now what we will be doing is that we will be creating a statement object. The statement object has been created. So, we have cleared all the things that is not required. Now we will be writing the query. Okay. So for that, what we will do, we'll say we'll take a string variable and query, and we will be writing a query like select start name of the table. What is the name of a table over here? Employee. So I am directly copying the name of a table and pasting over it. So I will be selecting all the data which is there in a employee table. So now I'll be executing the statement. For executing the statement, we will require this statement object that has been created over here. So we will be taking this statement object and then we will say if we will be saying execute the cost from the variable, the string query string variable that we have created. We will be passing it to this particular function. So this function will return a result in a form of a table that we need to store it in a result set, and the result state will be stored in a client machine. So for that we have to write down a result set. We will be creating a result set object and the result will be stored in this result set object. Then the name of the result set object will be RS. Should be capital. Okay, the data will be fetched and it will be stored in this result set object. Okay, now we need to retrieve the data one by one. So we will be using the result set functions to get the data one by one. So we'll say while function will say yes, that is what a result set object we will be using next function. Okay. The first thing is that first field is what we will go to the structure of it. We will get each and everything over here. The first one is employee ID, and that too it is a integer. So we have to write down a function like rs dot get in. Okay, and then we have to specify the name of this table, that is what EID. Okay, so this data will be retrieved, but it has to be stored temporarily in some variable, and that too should be an integer variable. Okay, Similarly, what we will do it for other three things also. So very quickly I am writing down the things. So second is ename, and that is a string. Name, okay, and it is a string. And third one is also, it has to be get string order as it is a string variable. Okay. Similarly, the next thing, designation is also a string. We have to check that we are writing it correctly with all its case as written in the table should also be written in the same fashion over here in the application, or else it will give us an error. The last one is salary. Salary is in the form of an integer, so we have to specify integer over here. Okay, now we need to print all the data over here. To print the data, I am using system out and then the ID. It is filled down. Alternating in, and be doing the same thing. Empty name, design, last one should be us. Okay. And at the end, what we need to do is that last step is to statement, and then we will be closing the connection. So we are ready with the program. Let's execute. For executing the program, we will be going to a left hand side of a IDE where all programs have been listed, and we will be selecting this retrieve data as we can't directly run the program from here as the main program is simple interest. The simple interest program will get executed. So what we will do, we will go to a left hand side where the project folder is been listed, and we will select this retrieve data.java program, and we'll click on the right click on this particular file, and we'll say run file. On running file, we will be able to see the complete data. Like driver is been loaded, connected with a database, statement created successfully, and all the 4 records that have been inserted previously. So I hope you got database concept. For more such videos on Java, stay connected with us. Thank you.